this next week.
Better. Although I do have to do some exterior painting, so.
Okay.
Ready, Commissioners?
Yes, we're live. Good morning. Welcome to the October 16th meeting of the Board of Raleigh County Commissioners. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, our first order of business is public comment. Do we have any? John?
Morning, Commissioners. John Ellerman, Public Works. We have a structure replacement project on Madison Creek Road that's scheduled to be done on Monday, October 23rd. The project's located about 4/10 of a mile north of the LK&W. Madison Creek Road will be closed to through traffic during the construction from LK&W Road to Wallsburg Road. Project is expected to be completed by Wednesday, October 25th.
Those will be the days we get all the rain.
We need it.
Yeah,
We do.
Then
actually, well, yeah.
Okay, any other public comment? Seeing none, we'll go to commission comment. Commissioner McKinley.
Okay, well, over the weekend, my kids and grandkids were out at our house for their early Christmas present. Rakes, chainsaws, log splitters, cleaned up our backyard that had gotten overgrown. 12 pickup loads of brush to the brush and tree dumps, and split up enough of wood, split up a face cord of firewood for this winter, and a couple of trees cut down, started on a pile for next, stacked up to dry for next year. It was very much needed and appreciated because we had just gotten ahead of us.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "That sounds great." We all had a good time too. And that's my wife. When we were eating dinner, she played Christmas music. Of course, the big event this weekend was the opening of the ambulance station in Leonardville. There was a nice crowd of people. The building looks great. And I've heard from a lot of people over the last week about how much it's appreciated having that facility up there. And that's all I got.
Okay, Commissioner Ford.
Yeah. It is getting more.
Okay, I thought it was just me. I'm like, I haven't had a chance to spit enough hot air to warm up to read it. So, okay, well, I'll go with it here. Thursday afternoon, post meeting, I had the October Teams call with NACO's Veteran and Military Service Committee. Our chair, Trista Martinson, Commissioner in Ramsey County, Minnesota, made some opening remarks and comments, introductions, and our guest speaker was Nathaniel Saltz from the Minnesota Assistance Council for Veterans, talked about ways the state of Minnesota is combating veteran homelessness. Rachel Mackey, who's our legislative director for the committee, she gave a legislative update, much like the legislative update from the other committee. It was pretty grim. Imagine that, right? Pretty much reflective of the same thing, so I won't go through all of that. Rachel, along with the chair, also gave an update on Operation Greenlight. But believe it or not, it's just right around the corner. I've started some dialogue already with Christian over at the Military Relations Committee, and we'll start moving on that here shortly as well. So general discussion following the meeting. That was basically it. Also on Thursday afternoon, I listened on a special Council of Foreign Affairs virtual public forum. It's an update on the Israel-Hamas war. It was an open record discussion on the escalated violence occurring currently in the Gaza Strip and Israel and what it means for the Middle East and what we can expect probably globally in the days, weeks, and they didn't say it, but I'm going to say years to come. And that conflict's going to stay in place for quite some time. There's several individuals whom I really can't pronounce the names very well. Really kind of dove into what we should really probably expect there. There's a lot of questions, a lot of concerns. It's just kind of in the kind of beginning stages, but this has been far from beginning. It's not a shock. So just gonna have to see how it works out and see how it works through. Friday morning, I met with I guess a new nutritionist at Stormont Vale, just on a quick video call, trying to work some different things out from a dietary perspective, balance out with a change in exercise routine to kind of balance everything out to reshift and just get a different focus moving forward. Kind of hit a wall with things. Part of it's motivation, I'll just say it. But after 4 years, it's kind of anticipatory. So we'll switch gears, put a new focus on things, and then it'll change and we'll get it done. Friday evening, I guess Manhattan High went to Lansing and laid it on the lines pretty good there, 42-0. A lot of people were talking about their stadium. I didn't see pictures of it. They said it's a weird stadium. I don't know. I remember one time I had a cousin that graduated there and was there on site. I don't ever remember it. Of course, that was. We won't go there. It's been quite some time. So those games there. Anyway, 6-1. I was looking through. I guess the East bracket 6A and the West bracket 6A, and Washburn Rural's last undefeated team. Everybody on the East side's got a loss, and a couple of them have got 2. So I think the playoffs are going to be kind of fun to watch or listen to, I guess, when we get to it. So nothing could be more fun though than winning in overtime last year at state championship, but
Yeah.
that could be proven wrong. I too attended the ribbon cutting ceremony in the open house at the new Leonardville station. Looks real good. It's really, really nice. And I thought it was attended by staff and the community, just as it needed to be. And if I'm not mistaken, it officially starts here in about 3 hours and 20 minutes. Countdown begins on that. So I'll be interested to see how that works into the equation and what we see for calls and just how that works. But I think we've got it set up well. I know there's a few odds and ends that still need to be worked out, but I think from the operations side, we're set up good there. Saturday night, watch K-State get a much needed win. Wildcats moved to 4-2, but I think more importantly, they stay in the Big 12 race, at least for now. A couple of good should be games they can win, at least at home, keeping them in the race, I think, through November, maybe at least. But we're back in that schedule. It's just so hard to tell at this point in time. So saw a lot out of the offense. I'm still concerned about the defense. Just have to see. So I think it's probably fair to say we've got a quarterback controversy at this point in time for sure. Maybe it's a good problem to have, but it's still a controversy of sorts. So yesterday, did some stuff around the house, watched Jacksonville take over the official lead in the AFC South. But it was a good football weekend, except for my fantasy league team, but that's just hot, rotten garbage. I have to talk about that. So just a couple other quick things. Wanted to mention, it's been announced by Governor Kelly in the state that there is a new public comment submission availability open for the Broadband Equity Access and Deployment, or BEAD initiative. That's proposal on volume 2. Volume 1's already been taken care of. Comments made in this section will help with that 5-year action plan on the volume 1 and 2 action plans. That'll help the state identify the areas of need for a high-speed internet and outline the proper requirements that they'll take into put forth access to grant funding. And I don't know what that first phase went through, but overall there's $451 million over the course of that time to be shed out. So I don't know what each phase are going to break down. I think that's why they're kind of going through this process at this point in time. So those comments can be made at broadband-KDC submission manager. I think it pulls up a link and then you can just pop the link and it's available all the way up until November 12th. But it's October 16th. So if we're going to do it, I'd say do it pretty quickly. And just lastly, I wanted to give my condolences to the city of Manhattan, the passing of longtime employee and public works director Rob Ott, who passed away late last week. We got to know Rob pretty well over the last almost 5 years. He was a truly dedicated professional in his field. Really good all around guy. Just in general, he was very active and engaged in the community, and this is while fighting a long time and courageous battle with cancer. So my thoughts and condolences go out to his family, and he'll be missed by a lot of people in the community. That's just the kind of guy he was. So that's all I've got this morning.
Okay. Well, for me, Friday afternoon, I spent some time in the office going over today's meeting notes, proclamations. I also had a meeting with County Attorney Wilkerson on several issues, including the opioid task force that he wasn't able to attend last week. We did discuss Judge Malcolm and his struggle. And he did pass away yesterday, the district court.
I was actually there when he's called for that accident came through.
Anyway, then let's see. Also spent some time on the phone with Shelley Woodard on the Keats project. We're working on that this week, making that on a plea. Saturday, I attended the opening of the new Leonardville ambulance station. There are quite a few local residents and press in attendance. The station's designed and finished very well, with several items still needing to be completed. And they're planning to move in today, as we talked about. I'd like to give congratulations to Commissioner McKinley and all the citizens for your continual work on getting this accomplished. And without your work and the input from the citizens, it's would never. So it does make a difference when people get involved. So Saturday evening, I too watched the K-State TCU game with some friends. What a great job the team did. Exciting to see the backup quarterback Johnson with 5 touchdowns. They were saying that was a record.
5. I just printed it to Texas Tech.
Texas Tech.
TCU's this weekend.
Oh, sorry, Texas Tech.
That way you have it right when you submit.
That's right. Okay.
I just don't understand how you can run so fast with all that hair.
I know. I think it's great. I'm sorry. And then his eyes.
A friend of mine said it's
So
going to be
intense.
everybody a wild
Everybody. Yeah, right. We'll see.
Everybody a wild
It was pretty exciting though, but
no trademark on that, by the way.
I did get some good news. There was an award ceremony in Wichita this weekend for the best small business in the state, and SurePoint is it's a computerized farming company, and they're from my hometown in Atwood, and they got the state award. So that was really exciting. So I was happy to see that. A good group of people, and they have a satellite office here that trying to help students come into the business. So it's great. So that's all I have.
Where's business commissioners?
Yes.
First item we have, and motion for the notice to Township Board for the cereal malt beverage license for Chad Myers, Stag Hill Golf Club, 4441 Stag Hill Road, Manhattan, Kansas.
Are these for a year?
Yeah.
Is that what they're for? Okay.
And they can have them for special events too, but this one is for a year.
If I remember right, it's that go to the township first and then us, or is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it does.
Okay. We'll go ahead and make a motion to sign the notice to the township board cereal malt beverage license for Chad Myers at Stag Hill Golf Club.
A second.
So moved and seconded to sign the cereal beverage license for Chad Myers, Stag Hill Golf Club. All in favor? Aye.
Sure, please sign.
There you go.
Thank you. Next, I need a motion to approve Schultz Construction base bid in the amount of $195,000 as the best bid and direct staff to proceed with the project of the Riley County Fire District number 1, 102 Ashland bid award.
Questions?
Okay.
So are you only awarding the base bid
Yes,
and not the mechanical and electrical?
correct.
So you're gonna bid those out separately then?
Yeah, I think so. I think we can, I think we can, solicit quotes and get it done cheaper. Like the commission voted there previously for us to be our own general contractor, and I think we can get it done a lot cheaper. Someone directly to an electrician to get electrical done and HVAC done.
I was just wondering, wasn't clear on how that.
The motion says Riley Construction, so,
Yeah, it does.
Oh, it doesn't, let me,
So Friday, I talked.
oh, that's odd. My motion does say Schultz, so, okay. I got it right on.
Riley.
I got it right on here.
So to get the car in time. Well, at first look, Schultz was a little bit, but then when we met with Dan Knight, he clarified some stuff on Friday. Riley became the best bid, so I talked to Cindy Friday and she changed a couple of things.
So it is supposed to be Riley?
Yes,
Okay,
Oh.
because it says Schultz on here.
yeah, Riley.
No, this is Riley on mine.
that's it on mine too, but I make sure we're awarding the right bid to the.
Definitely need to have that right. And so you're going to subcontract out, just so I got it right on here, electrical, HVAC and plumbing?
Correct.
Okay, just want to be sure I had it right.
Well, no, the plumbing's included in the base bid.
Plumbing's included in base bid? Okay.
And that was part of the confusion. Riley included plumbing, and part of the clarification that Dan got was that Riley Construction included plumbing in their base bid, which is what made them actually cheaper.
I'll put that in a motion. That's
Well,
okay to include plumbing.
But then you got the second one that's out there. On your list sheet, you show Riley Construction without the plumbing. Price,
So,
which
so
which
this,
price are we looking at?
Mechanical, we got mechanical, electrical.
Because you got,
So the
is this one you're looking at?
199, 200. Riley Construction, the 199, 200,
Oh, okay,
which includes $8,400 in plumbing.
okay,
So the 199, 200.
okay, that's what, they had two different numbers, I wonder which one.
Yeah, that was some Dan showing,
Oh,
Dan showing the 8,400 off of
So
that.
this is one. Okay.
Plumbing was in base, but yeah, it says to the side, plumbing 8,400. Yes,
I need clarification for the motion. So we have it straight. Riley Construction gets the base bid, which includes plumbing.
yes,
But in the motion amount here, I have 195,000.
Yeah.
It should be 199,200.
correct.
Okay.
Okay, that's, yeah.
and then we are gonna have a bid for the mechanical.
Electrical and HVAC.
Either, I don't know that we'll go to formal bid, but we'll follow county purchasing policy, and if it appears to be under 20,000, then we'll get 3 quotes.
Okay,
Mhm.
If we can get 3 quotes. Can't always get 3 quotes nowadays, but we will attempt to.
And then,
And some of the work we may do ourselves, like the painting, we do self or some of the stuff.
because there's, this includes plumbing, but not the painting, correct?
I believe so, yes.
I mean, the ones you use, okay.
Correct.
So what is the total amount that we're bidding on here?
199, 200.
Which includes plumbing.
Correct.
Includes plumbing.
I would clarify though, I would think in the base bid painting would be included, but. you might
No,
want to
they
clarify.
specified it was.
Oh, really?
it was not in base bid. Plumbing was.
This one read in their paintings that.
I know we had get free paint.
That deduct.
Yep.
You know where you need it, son?
Yeah, John, you like to paint,
I
don't you?
do.
Yeah,
I'll come out there and help you guys roll some paint. I was just thinking to myself, I've been nagging about this project since summer of 20, so. It's about time.
What was the previous bid, Russell, that we went this route? Do you remember?
Well, it was all in bid.
Uh-huh.
Food and dirt words,
Uh-huh.
that'd be 270 and some change.
Okay.
So whether we saved much money or not, I don't know, but probably a little bit.
We'd probably save some on the architect's estimate too, wouldn't you, if we were doing the dirt work and doing this? Would that make a difference?
Yeah, I mean, the architect's estimate was 200 even, so.
So probably didn't save any money, but we used county staff to do it, so we didn't pay out any extra money, but it's kind of like how we did the shop site. We did all of that dirt work, and that was our effort to keep the outgoing cost down. There's still a cost to it because
Sure.
other work doesn't get done. We're paying their salaries.
Yeah.
Get a motion, commissioners, and make sure we have a motion correct. Approve Riley Construction base bid in the amount of $199,200 as the base bid to include plumbing and direct staff to proceed with project.
I moved that.
I'll second.
Oh, I can't do a motion on that.
THAT.
There's been a motion and seconded that Riley Construction will be awarded the bid for the Ashland Fire Station. It includes plumbing, but not painting, for $199,200. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks.
Thanks, Russell.
Was that good enough?
Good. Next, commissioners, I have a proclamation to sign National Hospice and Palliative Care Month, November 23rd, November 2023.
Go ahead and make a motion to sign the National Hospice and Palliative Care Month for November of 2023.
I'll second.
So moved and seconded to sign the proclamation for the National Hospice and Palliative Care Month for November of 23. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you. Next, commissioners, on your motion to approve Veterans Day Proclamation 2023.
Go make a motion to approve the Veterans Day Proclamation 2023.
Second.
So moved and seconded to approve the Veterans Day Proclamation 2023. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All three sign, please.
It must have been.
I checked, they weren't on.
I wonder what it was. Maybe just being supposed to.
Changes of the minutes, commissioners.
Let's see. Oh, I had something on the executive session. You didn't say that you were in the executive session.
Oh, what? It's not in there.
No. The second one.
Second one.
It's on number 16.
Should be towards the end of the meeting, shouldn't it? If I can get there. Okay, yeah, they do have it correct on here.
Oh, do they?
Yeah,
Okay.
They do.
Okay. Anything else? Minutes?
So it was on there, you said?
Yeah, it was on my minutes here.
Okay. So then I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the minutes as currently written from the October 12th meeting of the Riley County Commission.
Second.
So moved and seconded to accept the as printed minutes for the October 12th meeting. All in favor? Aye.
Tentative agendas, look, commissioners.
Keep in mind, I will be somewhere on Thursday, but not here. I'll be zooming either mobile or.
So you're gonna zoom in?
Yeah, I am, but I'm either gonna be in transit or somewhere. I don't know yet. I haven't figured it out.
You're going
Kansas City.
Kansas City. Okay. Good morning. Hi.
Morning.
Okay, any items for next week's press conference, commissioners? Of course, I'll be on there for elections, so.
Not yet, but there may be something down the road.
Okay. Commissioner, I don't know if you saw the email regarding Northeast Kansas County Officials Annual Meeting on November 17th, 2023 at Nemaha County, I believe.
Yeah. Seneca.
Seneca.
Would all of you like to attend and get registered?
Yes, I emailed Cindy already, but yes.
Greg?
Which?
November 17th, it's a Friday.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Catherine?
Yeah, Friday works. So that's in.
Clancy's not here.
What time does it start?
It starts at, registration starts at 8, the opening assembly starts at 9.
That's about what, an hour and a half?
It's northeast.
Seneca.
Northeast County.
Which one's?
Yeah,
Is it?
depends on which way you go, yeah.
I didn't.
It's Northeast Kansas County Officials Meeting. That's where all county officials,
Yeah.
department heads, a lot of times.
Yeah, I was in one in Marysville actually.
Yeah, I missed last year's.
A little late in the year.
I usually always
Yeah, it
go.
was in October last year.
Was it?
It was.
No, it couldn't have been in October because I wouldn't have made it last year. I think it was in September. No, we had an Emporia before. I think it was in August.
I did that, did. Sure, you were asking about the taxes on that large tax roll correction we had last week. It was just over $4,000 is what the interest was for that on top of the amount that was submitted. And the interest rate from 21 to 23 is 2%, and 2024 it's going to 4%. So good stuff. Checking on information for you there. There were some questions. Next, commissioners, at 9 o'clock, you'll have Danny Hallgren with Conza Prairie.
Seems like I had something else, but it's. That brain's pretty much mush, so whatever. Danny, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Rich?
Good.
Finally feels like fall.
Yes. Thankfully, yes. We were there a frost warning, but it was only like,
just spotty.
uh,
It was like, just spotty. I didn't, it was, they were saying it was in the lower levels.
we're gonna ask her if you think to your eggplant.
He's already got your eggplant.
Every time I cold weather's gonna do it, is.
I know, yeah, well, they're not growing as fast as they were, which is
Gotcha.
nice, but it's less warm, but we'll see how long they last. Still look healthy.
Commissioners, you ready for Danny?
Good morning, commissioners. Good morning, Rich. Thank you
Morning.
for having me. I don't take it lightly. I know you all are very busy. You have a bunch of important decisions to make. And we just appreciate the opportunity to come and tell you what your community health center is doing in Manhattan. I brought with me Cy Smith. Cy is an intern with Kansa. He used to be a full-time employee and then he decided to go back to school, get his master's degree, continuing education. So we're thankful for his hard work. He's been assisting with grant proposals and administrative duties. And we're hoping that this is the start of a longstanding internship with K-State as we offer students the opportunity to know and understand that community health centers are a good place to work. They exist all over the country. You can get your student loans repaid. So we're trying to bridge the gap so that we can assist students with knowing that. I know it's something I didn't realize. I went to K-State and I worked at KDHE for a while and then at the local level. And I didn't realize all that Kansa did, all the services and the opportunity for growth and advancement. So thanks for being here, Cy. I'll give you a few updates on our medical, behavioral health, and dental services. The Flint Hills Food and Farm Council for Pathways funding has partnered with Kansa so that we can screen patients for food insecurity, provide education on nutrition and best practices for cooking and food resources, and then distribute $20 vouchers to patients at our Manhattan Clinic location. This is something that we partnered with in Junction City with Live Well Geary County that also received Blue Cross Blue Shield Pathways funding. It's been very successful. Food access, as you know, is a real problem for our communities, for both communities served. We distribute a lot of food to patients in need. When we are trying to manage chronic conditions, we often find that the advice that we are giving isn't feasible for families at home that aren't going to have access to fresh fruits and vegetables or protein. And when you're talking to a patient about managing blood sugar or hypertension and all they have at home is a sleeve of crackers, it's a challenge, right? I can't go home and implement the practices that you're telling me to put in place without access to those resources. So we're really trying to help patients stretch their food budget, which I think we're all trying to do at the grocery store. How I know I was visiting with our dietitians recently, and we are putting together classes about how to cook with less, right? I know that's something my grandma could do, have nothing in the cabinet at all and somehow put together a great meal. And I think it's a skill set that our patients need. Those that have and those that have not are looking for ways to stretch their food budget. And so that's some of the things we're doing with our diabetic support education classes and trying to build patient skill sets. We have doubled our interpreter services in the Manhattan Clinic to meet the needs of the Hispanic community. We've seen an increase in we had one full-time interpreter previously, now we have 2 full-time interpreters and their schedules stay very busy. I think it's indicative of the population served and just trying to grow and evolve as we see needs, change staffing, augment staffing to assist patients accordingly. Interpreter staff in the Manhattan location also assist with connecting patients to resources they need, like food bank assistance, housing, workforce. On the behavioral health side, Kansa is one of 5 community health centers in Kansas that is participating in the Kansas Department of Aging and Disability Services, promoting the integration of primary and behavioral health care program. It's really long. They even have an acronym for it.
We like acronyms.
But essentially what they're doing is connecting whole person care, which we know has been a thing since humans have been around, treating not just the body, but the mind and the spirit as well. It's something that we do in our Junction City location, and we've done previously in the Manhattan location. We are recruiting students now to assist with integrated behavioral health services from Washburn. But part of that is meeting the patients where they're at in their primary care visit. Some patients will never get to their behavioral health visit. They might make the visit. They might have a day where they feel confident enough to schedule that appointment, but when that day gets here, they don't get to the visit. And we see a high no-show rate with behavioral health and psychiatry services. So some of the work that we do integrating behavioral health and primary care just doesn't get paid. And that's why we leverage students and those that are seeking clinical hours so that we can sustain those services. But providing brief interventions for sleep, anxiety, depression, grief, bereavement support in the medical visit is another way to meet those patient needs without having to take an entire behavioral health visit or 6 months worth of visits. So it's something that we're doing currently in Junction City, and we're looking to do in Manhattan, and this SAMHSA funding will assist us in doing that and sustaining it over time. We also integrate not just behavioral health services, but substance use disorder treatment. Since 2019, we've increased our prescribing providers for opioid use disorder. They prescribe epinephrine by 500%. In 2022, we provided 77 medication-assisted treatment visits to patients in the primary care setting. So that means patients that are, maybe they had surgery and they were prescribed an opioid and it's gone on longer than what they needed. Maybe life's completely unraveling, right? They're completely hitting rock bottom. We've seen both ends of that spectrum, and they don't have to go anywhere else. They can receive those services right where they get their strep throat test, their flu shot, right where they take their kids to their primary care provider. And it really reduces silos and stigma for those patients. They don't have to get to an addiction treatment facility. That said, our partnership with CKF Addiction Treatment Services is what really makes this possible. We'll also be partnering with the Riley County Health Department as they implement their addiction task force in the local community, trying to make sure that our funding streams work together to have maximum impact. And I look forward to being able to do more of this work in Manhattan as well. It takes time, it takes dedicated support staff. There's a lot of lab work involved, there's a lot of visits, but when it's probably some of the most rewarding visits that our providers see, because you physically see the appearance of patients change as they come in for their first visit and they're in active withdrawals and they start treatment, to when they're maintaining and they're employed and a productive member of the community and feeling better and more resilient. Our staff have just been so empowered by seeing the very visible way that this work happens in our addiction treatment integrated services. In 2022, we provided over 900 substance use disorder integrated services at the medical visit. And that was to more than 300 unduplicated patients. So those patients don't have to get all the way down the road to Salina. CKF is in our building, they can help them there. It reduces the transportation barriers and just improves access. We are recruiting for a dentist in both Junction City and Manhattan. We have our second dental rotation going on this week with KUMC. These are D4 students, trying to give students an opportunity to see what it's like to work in a community health center setting, that you don't have to go into private practice, that you can come to a community health center, again, get your student loans repaid, and meet a real need in the community. Kansa is unique in that we provide the full spectrum of dentistry, everything from cosmetic to restorative and routine care. So that's something that a lot of dentists really like. We had a D4 student that was a K-State graduate and then went on to dental school, and he said, my rotation at Kansa was different than anywhere else because I got to do a little bit of it all. And you do, our dentists see a little bit of everything. We have fully insured patients and uninsured patients, and everywhere in between in terms of what's needed for dentistry. So we're excited about that. We think it's going to be a good way to place people from the community in the community, keep them here, keep their skill sets here, put them to work here, and have a long-term relationship. That's what we want to build. We want to have a place where people can come back to their same provider for years, right? That the providers are not just seeing the patients, they're seeing the patient's kids, the patient's grandkids. We want to build that sustainability over time. And I think the only way to do that is to hire and recruit people from within the area that have ties here. So we have our second dental rotation going on right now. I hope that her feedback is just as good and that we can recruit them later in the summer. The federal update, So I won't belabor this too much, but of course, we're tracking the CR pretty closely in the budget stuff at the federal level. The National Association has made an urgent call for advocacy on health center funding with fear that the shutdown and threats and turmoil about replacing Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House is causing members of Congress to lose interest. There is a letter for the Association of Large Health Centers to send minority and majority leadership of the House and Senate, and they're encouraging health center advocates to reach out and say health center funding is important. This work wouldn't be possible without it. In 2022, we provided care to just over 4,600 patients in the Manhattan community. We did that in 2,300 square feet. And without the funding to sustain the 2,300 square feet, let alone more, it's a real challenge to meet the needs of the Manhattan community in the surrounding area. According to federal data, there's approximately 20,000 unserved patients in our region that are low income and that haven't been to a health center yet. And so those are patients that are going to access the emergency room for routine healthcare needs. Those are patients that are going to present with chronic conditions that could have been managed if they were connected to care. Lost work time, lost school time. And so we're doing the best we can to sustain what we have. Making sure that the federal government stays open is just, important for all of us. Do you have any questions for me?
What's your wait list currently on the dentist side?
We're booked out about a month at least. Now we have same day urgent visits. So we leave 4 slots open a day in each clinic so that we can work those in. It's first come, first serve. But it's going to get more following it after November because one of our dentists in Junction City is moving to the East Coast. So it's a challenge. It really is. And it's something, content didn't struggle with for a long time. It seemed like it was easy to recruit. It's not that environment anymore. And I just was at the primary care conference and I didn't speak with a single health center that's not looking for a dentist. And a lot of them, can make a lot of money in private practice. And so having the benefit and selling the whole environment, student loan repayment, you're not going to get student loan repayment in private practice. But also the team-based care. It's one of those things that when you have a good team and you can build on it, it's easier to recruit. The Manhattan in particular, it tends to be a challenge because it's a placement for one dentist, but Dr. Bellingham is here full-time. Last time I visited with you all, we were rotating dentists through. We had a dentist that requested to change. He lives in Manhattan. He's working in Manhattan now full-time. So patients that go to Kansa in Manhattan are seeing the same dentist Monday through Friday. He works 5 days a week. So that's good news. But it's a challenge to recruit. And it seems like once you get a little short, it just kind of spirals. Any other questions for me? Well, anything ever comes up, you need more information, I'd be happy to provide it. We are grateful to serve Manhattan and thank you for your time.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Next, commissioners, you have Vernon Turner at 9:15. Hopefully.
Background noise from somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, Elizabeth and Clancy.
Mhm.
I still leave that.
It's been 5 too. No, a meeting last week, you mentioned you. Mentioned he's coming.
Here it is.
There it is.
No.
Is that Friday going to be on Saturday then?
No, Friday. That's me. That's whenever it's using the holiday, but also Saturdays at game day. So they might not fight that. So they made that decision early to switch to Friday.
Okay.
Morning, Vernon. How you doing?
It's gonna be a
Good.
game of the day, until we fully know.
We've got a lot of night games.
Which is perfect for my schedule. I love the night games.
This one's gonna be pretty chilly though, I bet.
Supposed to be in the upper 70s.
Mid-70s and the upper
During the games?
50s at night. That's not bad football. That's perfect football weather, especially if you're the player.
Well, yeah. The stands are pretty cold.
Have a hot chocolate.
Yeah, that's good.
That's perfect, particularly if the wind's not blowing.
Mhm.
Doesn't kind of hold down the bowl there.
That's great football weather.
Yeah. It's nice. I got all the windows open. Yeah, it's great.
Commissioners, you ready for Vernon?
Mhm.
Well, thank you. My name is Vernon Turner. I'm president of Flint Hills Veterans Coalition. And I want to thank the county for their support for the coalition and the Veterans Day Parade. We are on track. We have, as of the end of last week, 33 organizations already entered for the parade. And there's 637 individuals that will be so far marching in the parade. So we still have entries coming in all the way up to use sometimes the day of the parade. So we're looking forward to having a good parade and hopefully pray for good weather. We never know what we're going to get. So, yeah, last year was probably the best day we've had in like 2 years. So,
Yeah, it has been some of the coldest, brutalest days.
Yeah.
It's been unreal.
19 was a. That was better.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
20 was nice, but.
yeah,
Everything else wasn't.
you never know until you wake up that morning. So,
It is Kansas.
so yeah, the American Legion is going to have the breakfast like every year. So,
Good.
So yeah, everything's going well. So, any questions?
No,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, Vernon. Next, Commissioner, you have the press conference at 9:30. Several items.
I've got another proclamation.
Tis the season.
Yes, it is.
I'll get this out of Commissioner Fortis to not tempt you because it's boss's day and so the whole office stuff. There's like tons of food over there, so you probably don't want to come to our office.
No, we don't.
I didn't even know it was boss's day until. I went to work.
But
Someone said happy boss's day. Okay, I like food.
I guess I'm told I'm supposed to eat lots of carrots and cucumbers.
That's not how to keep it.
You know what her response was, right? I said, well, that's the stuff my food actually usually eats. Yeah. My doctor, she didn't find that humorous. And I tried to make the excuse that I'm indirectly eating that already, right?
Certainly.
You know, you need to.
She didn't agree with me, sir.
Almost did with. Oh, no.
I don't know. We had a kid that started with us, that's why I could just check every year. And so like he started here. And then he went his freshman and sophomore junior year. He did classes out of October and transferred them backwards. So he did. So I don't know about it.
Yeah.
They would technology. I don't know. It would be easy for her.
Great pile that we have
Or something.
I did good. Really?
I would get started in August, like, you know. Or maybe even.
Yeah.
New Year. But it was semester.
I just got wrestled back. Let's get a big conversation.
I've written it from this year, but she's.
Appreciate it.
So, I think it would be. Maybe, but I don't think she needed, but everybody else would be.
But you say.
I don't know. if it'd be a good idea.
Parade on Friday.
I just wonder how.
Veterans Day,
How do you?
Saturday, yes.
everyone.
I'm assuming that's Fort Riley Day, and then.
No, they already had that.
You did?
Football, yeah. Isn't they?
Must have been the first game of the year then. I went to the other two and then wasn't.
Maybe they do, maybe it is.
That would make sense.
But that's what,
But then again, nothing we've.
that's why they wanted to more than 5%. I said, and I'm sad, you can get off and say, right,
Yeah.
the schools are closed.
Yeah. 3-day weekend before. And just right before the 4-day weekend. That's just right around the corner too. I got some sales.
During my administrative time, we're gonna talk about what they. Legislative. And most of them are gonna. Not gonna offer it.
Oh, okay.
That might be good.
I thought.
They'll
something.
Try and do it in
Well, like right now, like.
November. There's a couple days in November. The further out, the better. The legislators.
Just, you know.
Did you? Well, I don't know which one of those. There's so many emails, like, one of them, I was talking about. The KP sporting 16-11, the 11th county saying they're gonna quit if they don't.
I thought that was an interesting threat. So one member of the 104 is gonna leave, and I don't do but one member.
And the thing about it is, I mean, if it's really that big of a deal, they could cap their property tax 4% and do the exact same thing.
Yeah, they could do it. And even if you cap it, it doesn't change.
No, right.
It's,
That's good.
like I say, you got one guy that's pushing it, and
Yeah.
he's convinced all the others that.
That's interesting though, because it plays into that argument that we've always had is. You're taking a state legislative approach to something that's a local issue.
Yeah,
Entirely.
that's all, all we need is more state, state.
Why are you
more?
fixing everybody else's methods because of your problem? Your perceived problem.
I gotta naturally think that pendulum is gonna shift back, really. Next up, I don't know if it's this year specifically, but I think it's.
Well, I think that's why I always say on the dark slopes. If once there's enough pain, then there's a motivation to actually fix everything and or stop doing it. But there may have to just be enough pain. I don't know, that's not encouraging.
We're at.
Or
Oh, you're gonna be excited. I just got emailed another one
For what?
for Operation Greenlight.
Oh, for Thursday.
That'll probably be later,
Okay, good.
but it's,
Two days.
yeah, not today, not today. It'll
One
be,
a day is plenty.
I think it's supposed to run, let's see, the 6th through the 11th.
Yeah, the week before Wednesday.
Couldn't remember if we did one for that last year or not. The end of October into November last year was such a blur for me. I
Yeah.
couldn't remember everything I did last year. I think I was literally from mid-October to the end of November. I was home 2 days. Between going out to DC, Kansas City, having to make the emergency trip home.
And all that.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I was just.
Yeah, hopefully this November will be better.
It has been so far. Busy still, but yeah.
It's interesting, we get really busy at during budget. I mean, you think, oh, I'll have a little break, but no, the fall stuff pops in. Somebody's trying to get everything in for couple months.
I don't think we're trying to catch up post COVID and we just. Not there.
Yeah, I don't, we can't blame it on COVID anymore.
Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah, Commissioner Ford, I'd say cucumbers and carrots at German chocolate cake is just overrated.
Oh, why do I talk? Why don't you get the knowledge?
And you get a chair? My goodness.
Go to the office. There is a ton of food over there for Boss's Day.
Oh, really? Oh, let's try to spice this thing.
I didn't even know it until I came into the office, but yeah.
Well, currently, we no other than our.
Here either.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing.
Yeah, bunch of food.
Was it homemade German?
I believe it was. It was good. It was good.
I've been wanting to dig up my mom's old recipe. It was really good stuff. Yeah, I've got all the recipes. I haven't
There's a
found.
big pot of chili over there for lunch. Had some breakfast meatballs this morning before I came over. I was like,
They're really doing it.
there's a lot
up.
of food over there.
I would imagine the new ambulance center is going to get that food right in.
That's good.
Yeah.
That is really good.
People.
That.
That is good. Yeah, I was texting David back and forth when I determined I wouldn't be able to make it because of the event. And
Yeah.
talked to him before and afterwards. Said it went real well.
Jan saw it on Facebook. She's, I know where Ritual is Saturday.
I called David Friday. I said, I might be here, so keep you posted. Morning, Greg. How you doing?
Fantastic.
Officially a grandpa. As of Saturday.
He just was a week ago.
Congratulations to you. Boy or girl? Little girl. Carson Elaine, what'd you guys have?
Boy, Atlas,
Good, good. Here in town?
Colorado.
Good reason to drive to Colorado.
See a business partnership in the future. Carson.
That's an interesting name. So,
It is.
Coming to town next week.
Awesome. Exciting.
Yeah.
Our next phase of life.
Yes.
It's fun. Ours is 5 months old. Both this week.
Mhm. Yeah.
Close by.
At home.
The
Right downstairs.
I heard a story about Grandpa came to work late to a meeting because little one got grandpa recently.
came after lunch, it came with the big old stain on my shirt. I didn't realize. I knew it got wet.
Well, that's when you go, yeah.
I think I heard those stories about you Friday. Yeah, it was because we had a public scan and Julie was here for a public scan. She helps us with that. That's where I heard the story.
Yeah, she got me that morning, got a cheap pins. That lunch. It was.
So it's 9:30. We have a proclamation. Would you ladies like to come forward? Our lady. Okay. I'll read the proclamation. Okay. Okay, whereas as for more than 40 years, hospice has helped provide comfort and dignity to millions of people, allowing them to spend their final months at home, surrounded by their loved ones. Whereas the hospice model involves an interdisciplinary, team-oriented approach to treatment, including expert medical care, quality system control, and comprehensive pain management as the foundation of care. Whereas beyond providing physical treatment, hospice attends to the patient's emotional, spiritual, and family needs and provides family services such as respite care and bereavement counseling. Whereas since its conception, the hospice benefits holistic approach has helped patients prepare for and face death, and their loved ones carry on supported in the wake of it. Whereas 1.72 million Medicare beneficiaries living with life-limiting illness and their families receive care from the nation's hospice programs in communities throughout the United States in 2020. Whereas hospice and palliative care organizations are advocates and educators regarding advanced care planning that help individuals make decisions about the care they want. Whereas the central philosophy of hospice care puts patients first, ensuring a coordinated and person-centered approach to care, protecting patient choice and access to individualized services based on a patient's unique care needs and wishes. Whereas since 1985, Meadowlark Hospice continues to meet patients where they are at in Clay, Cloud, Marshall, Republic, Western Riley, and Washington County. Whereas Meadowlark Hospice is ranked second for quality of all not-for-profit hospice organizations in the state of Kansas by the National Hospice Locator. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Riley County Board of Commissioners, by the authority vested in us by Riley County, to hereby proclaim November 2023 as National Hospice and Palliative Care Month, and encourage citizens to increase their understanding and awareness of care at the end of life, discuss their end of life wishes with their families, and observe this month with appropriate activities and programs. In witness whereof, we have hereunto set our hands the 16th day of October 2023 and cause the seal to be affixed. You. Say something? Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Okay. Did you want a picture with?
Picture with the commissioner
Yes,
behind the desk?
Yes,
There.
please. I wouldn't say she's a good photographer. One, two. I better be careful after I home here.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any questions or? No.
Appreciate it.
So we're going to the next one. Is that?
Next proclamation.
Next proclamation.
Yeah, with Vernon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We have another Veterans Day proclamation. Whereas the men and women who have served the armed forces of the United States of America have made major contributions toward the preservation of the freedom of this nation and its people. And whereas the services performed by these millions of gallant Americans have demonstrated the willingness of our nation to meet the challenges of those forces wishing to subjugate individual determination through armed conflict, and whereas honorable service performed in the defense of our nation and her cause in time of war is the highest form of citizenship. And whereas the Congress of the United States of America has designated the 11th day of November each year as Veterans Day. And whereas Veterans Day has become a significant part of our American heritage, as we recognize the millions of our citizens whose military service has had a profound effect on history. And whereas Veterans Day offers us, county, and as a state, and as a nation, an opportunity to rededicate ourselves to Abraham Lincoln's call to Congress and the American people, to care for him who shall have borne the battle, and for his widow and his orphan. And whereas this nation and the free world are eternally grateful for the contributions of America's veterans, men and women, to the advancement of the cause of an honorable world peace. Now, therefore, we, the Raleigh County Board of County Commissioners, do hereby call upon all citizens to observe Saturday, November 11th, 2023, as Veterans Day. And we ask that the day be observed with appropriate ceremonies in honor of those who have served to preserve our principles of justice, freedom, and democracy. In witness whereof, we have hereunto set our hands and caused the seal of the County of Raleigh to be affixed the 16th day of October, 2023.
Thank you.
Would you like to say something?
Just want to say thank you for the veterans, past, present, and future. Thank you.
Okay, would you like to take pictures?
I don't have anybody here to take.
Oh,
I'm here by myself.
okay, okay. Oh, Amanda, do you have a phone?
Vivian's usually good. Yeah, they can.
Usually good. Yeah. Something else smelly. I know. Hey.
Thank you. See you on day before Veterans Day. That was great. Yes.
Okay, next we have the soil preparation program. Greg has done. Morning.
Wanted to make people aware that we are doing a program this Saturday at 10 a.m. Bluebill Nursery is hosting. It will be on soil preparation, getting your garden soil prepared for next year's growing season. Eventually, we'll have a lot of leaves coming down, and one resource is just to chop those up. You can leave them on the lawn. Research shows that's just fine. But if there's more than you care to have on the lawn, we can put those into our vegetable flower beds, work those in as a great resource to add to our soils. The Raleigh County Extension Office does soil testing, and we do about 100 or so of those a year. Residents bring soil in. We know our soils are pretty nutrient rich, so the organic matter that we add is not necessary for fertilization, but is for pore space to have good air pockets in the soil, which is very beneficial for root development. Also, the compost that's available at the Raleigh County Transfer Station is another resource. A couple inches of that over your soil and worked in is a great thing to do too. So these things are done on an annual basis. There's not a one-time fix, but there's lots of resources out there, and we'll talk about those at our program on Saturday at Bluebill. 10 a.m. If you can't make it, just reach out to us, 75-537-6350, or stop by and see us. Raleigh County Office Building, 2nd floor, 8-5. I'd love to talk with you if you have some concerns or questions about our soil preparation for this next year.
Okay.
Do I get a picture?
I was just asking.
You can.
I didn't bring a spot for you.
We get a picture when you bring us some water finally for that soil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. Rich Barber, Raleigh County Clerk. I want to remind everyone of the upcoming election, Tuesday, November 7th. Voter registration books officially close tomorrow, October 17th. Advanced voting will begin October 18th on Wednesday. Advanced voting will run through October 30th, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. That excludes weekends. During the weekdays, we also open for advanced voting November 4th, 8 a.m. to noon, and November 6th, 8 a.m. to noon. Want to remind people the voting process has changed a little bit this year. People have watched the county commission meetings are aware of the election equipment the board allowed us to purchase, and it is just a tabulation system. The actual election equipment's the same, it's just the software that's changed. So it's just a ballot marking device now. There is a video out there, a demonstration video out there on the Riley County website, which has lots of other good election information, but there's a video on it. So it's the exact same voting equipment. You vote on the electronic equipment the exact same way. It just does not tabulate anymore. Now there will be a central tabulation device at the S300 at each polling location where you insert the ballot. People have to remember is once you take that piece of paper from the voting machine, your vote is not cast until it goes in that tabulation piece of equipment. So we'll be very cognizant to be sure that none of those pieces of paper walk out the door. But what it's really intended to do is for people to verify visually that how they push those buttons was actually printed on the paper. That's really what the state and federal governments want to mandate. That way people can see that the machine actually marked the ballots as they wish prior to being tabulated. So it's a very simple process. But it is a change at the polling places. But as I say, the majority of the voting process is exactly the same on going through the machines and marking the ballot. The ballot stock is what we call it. It's the exact same machine, just the software has been changed on it. Any questions, commissioners?
I didn't just, if that printout comes out and you don't think or it's not what you wanted, there's a way to review.
There is, and just like the old fashioned paper ballots, we currently have paper ballots. Every voter has the opportunity to spoil 2 ballots. It's what we call a spoiled ballot. You know, someone looks at that says, oh, well, I thought I, unchecked that one, or maybe, change their mind on a candidate. So it's up to the voter. The voter has to have the responsibility to do it prior to putting it in to be tabulated. Then we can spoil it, and then they can get a new blank card stock and re-vote it. Absolutely can.
And sample ballots are available on the website.
Yeah, there's a lot of good information out there on the Riley County Elections website. Sample ballots, put in your name and information. You get your polling location, a map to your polling location. But all of that information is out there. Your previous voter history is out there for an individual. So yeah, there's a lot of good information out there on our election website. I really encourage people to go out there and check it out. Always encourage people to go out there and look at their sample ballot. A lot of times people think, yeah, the city election is going on in our school district, but they're not aware of the other one going on. Or, those in the rural areas may not be aware of which issues they're voting on as far as school districts and candidates. And so it's a good source of information to speed up the voting process for people when they go there. That way they're not surprised by anything.
I think that'll be the challenge for this one is that extra step. How long is it going to take?
It's very simple. But yeah, change is constant.
Not always necessary, but
Necessary when they make laws about it.
Well, probably slow down the processes in the polling places a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know that it will that much, because it takes the card stock really quickly. People vote there. It will a little bit in our community, I believe, because the overwhelming majority of our community, I'd say probably close to 90%, on the current machinery, you know, when you tabulate it before, I'd say 90% just push the button after it was marked and let it go back into that back bin and trusted the system. You know, some people could push the button, pull the card out, look at it, and then reinsert it. You know, I had that option, but the overwhelming majority of people do. I think the great staff that we have here at Riley County Elections have trust in our systems and our processes. So I think because of that, it may a little bit, but we're trying to set up polling places efficiently. People walk out, they just insert the card. The card can be, you know, some people express concerns, well, print on that card where someone sees it. Well, that card can be held upside down and inserted into there, and it will read it upside down, or it'll read it face side up. That has been well tested.
They're not folded.
No, not folded. Well, if they're folded, we have to unfold it and then, put it through straight. That's for sure.
All right.
Poll workers.
Doing good on this one. Next year will be the concern, you know, but because we need so many, but then also poll worker burnout with having that extra presidential preference primary in March, where we've already started recruiting for next year, of course. And so,
Seems to be a valuable issue around the country.
Poll workers, and a lot of people don't realize the level of support that we have besides actual poll workers, and we have many county departmental staff that help us as being openers and closers, we call them, and also roamers on election day. Those are more technologically advanced county employees and other personnel that go around and assist poll workers to be sure they're comfortable with all these technological changes, be sure the polls get open and closed on time, and any troubleshooting during the day. And so we have to recruit more of those as well for next year. But this year we're doing okay. Any other questions, commissioners? Okay, and encourage people to go out there, see which races are voting on. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, commissioners, you have Amanda Webb.
Good morning, commissioners. Amanda Webb, Planning Director. I have for you the city's proposal, City Manhattan's proposal to amend the Manhattan Urban Area Comprehensive Plan. Just a quick note, Stephanie Peterson is here, Manhattan Community Development Director, to answer any questions and make sure I get all the details right. So what we're doing here is, again, amending the Manhattan Urban Area Comprehensive Plan that was adopted jointly by the city and the county commissioners in early 2015. They are looking to amend the future land use map in order to update the urban service area boundary. And actually, let me pull it up. We would have this attached here. So the top picture, of course, shows the current urban service area boundary, and then the future land use area in the northwest. And the bottom, we'll pull that up here in just a second to show what the proposed is. Just a quick note, the urban service area boundary is where the city is able to reasonably extend city services and utilities. So it has been modified in 2 locations, in the northwest and the southwest, as shown on these maps. And they're also looking to square off the boundary. You can see, let me see here, right up here, it's a little bit of a jog, and then down here, we're going to square it off. And actually, correct me if I'm wrong, Stephanie, I think this is something that's needed to be done this part for a little while. So just one of those good housekeeping things that we're getting done so it matches things up properly. So that's part of the proposal here. The other thing we're working on with this comprehensive plan update, right, amendment, I should say, is to remove reference to 3 separately bound documents that were amended into the plan by reference. Those include the 1994 Points Avenue Corridor District Plan, the 2005 Aggieville Campus Edge District Plan, and the 2015 Hartford Hills Master Plans. Those will be amended to remove references to those documents. We're actually also adding reference to the housing market analysis into the plan as well with this amendment. So the Manhattan Urban Area Planning Board reviewed and recommended approval of this during their September 28th meeting. There's actually a lot of information in the packet here that went to the planning boards. You can see everything that they received and reviewed. And all the information attached to that. Their draft ordinance, or I guess it's a resolution for them at that point, is included. And then draft minutes of their discussion and decision at that meeting. Also, of course, attached is a resolution for you folks to review and sign if you are agreeable to the proposal, and we are happy to, that was a really quick summary, but we're happy to answer any questions or correct anything that might have. Any questions?
Our planning board.
Yes.
So our planning board actually does not have to do this. So we have our interlocal agreement with the city, and it's their urban area planning board that reviews these amendments, which they have done. And then it's both you folks and the city, which they're actually having their first reading tomorrow evening. The city commission will review it as well. So that's the process we follow with these now, with that interlocal agreement. Questions?
Thing curious, it's on here. I don't think it's new. It's on there. It's showing the Junie Adam to Marlatt as a future connection to Manhattan. Oh, how many hundred years in the future they're talking about? Because it doesn't make sense.
Good morning, Commissioners. That connection is shown there on the east side. That's been in the comp plan since 2015. We didn't make any substantial revisions to that map other than the two areas that Amanda showed.
I actually say I know it looked like it was already on there, but
yeah, it was.
Why?
So just some background information for you guys. We have the East Manhattan Gateway Plan that we are just now kicking off. It's going to be about an 18-month process over on Potawatomi County side. We fully expect to revisit all of those future connections, and we'll end up actually coming back before you guys with that whole area of Potawatomi County. What the planning study that we're doing right now will kind of replace this map, and what you see there, connections, future land use, all of that will end up being replaced.
Like I say, states that they don't got funded, right? That's what I heard. They said they're interested in improving 24, but not.
And that's gonna be somewhat of a challenge because it's not Riley County.
Yeah, that's what concerns me about this. It's, you know, where's Potawatomi?
And I get the need for the city and Potawatomi County to do what they need to do, but that's.
So let me speak to a little bit of, you asked why it didn't go before the Riley County Planning Board. And they're actually, Potawatomi County doesn't have any jurisdiction to approve the comprehensive plan, the Manhattan Urban Area Comprehensive Plan. So we have an interlocal agreement with Riley County, the city does, that was executed in 2001. That there's paragraph 5 and then subparagraph C. It actually speaks to the manner in which we go about developing this comp plan. It says the city and Riley County will work together, and that the comp plan has to go before our joint planning board, and then it comes before you all and then our city commission. Then it also references a section in the statute. It's KSA 12747. That's the area of the statute or the section that talks specifically about comprehensive plans. And what it says in there is that when the city prepares to, and in this case, we do it jointly with Riley County, would we start looking at either updating a comprehensive plan, the next new one, we would go to Potawatomi County, we would say, here's our planning area that we're going to study. And then we go back and we do our thing. We go before the Manhattan Urban Area Planning Board, we come to you all, we come to the City Commission. Those are the only 3 entities that actually have jurisdiction to approve it or to make a recommendation of approval. What the statute says is after that's been done, we simply take a draft, or we take the executed copy of that comp plan and we provide it to Potawatomi County for informational purposes only. Now, the only way that we could get around that is if at some point in the future, if Potawatomi County joined the interlocal agreement that created that joint planning board. Until that happens, they actually don't have any sort of jurisdiction over that comp plan. So it's something that just our two jurisdictions would be involved with.
Even if our planning board doesn't have authority to revise it, to reject it or something, still would like them to have a look at it. You know, to me, it's me. But I thought I think they should be able to take a look at it and see if they see anything. I mean, I don't see any problem with it, but I just, if they don't have direct authority, I would think they should have at least a chance to review it.
It wasn't a memorandum of understanding for joint emergency services as opposed to developmental.
Two separate things.
Yeah, the interlocal agreement that I'm referencing from 2001, that was between the city and the county creating the joint Manhattan Urban Area Planning Board. It even spoke to how each entity gets to select who those 7 members are. And so it really is and it speaks very specifically in that agreement as to what different items that planning board will make a recommendation on, like the comprehensive plan. So that it is membership from both the city, but also from appointed members from Riley County to kind of replace that individual action needed by both bodies, both the Riley County Planning Board and then the city planning board.
And I'm trying to remember, Stephanie, if it was last legislative cycle or the one before it, state had come up and drafted some legislation about basically
The extraterritorial jurisdiction. Yeah, so that would be if we didn't have an interlocal agreement.
Oh, okay.
So because we have that interlocal agreement, it does create that extra jurisdictional boundary. But if we didn't have that interlocal agreement in place, it could have been jeopardized, where the city wouldn't be able to kind of enforce its zoning within, I think it's 3 miles for the subdivision. Yeah.
I mean, if it was 3 or 5.
Yeah, so it's very similar. This is just more of a partnership that we entered into to exert that power and to work with Riley County, that if we come up with any subdivision zoning regulations, you guys do have representation on that point, that joint planning board, so that you are kind of at the table helping to make some of those decisions. Anytime we amend Manhattan Development Code, we end up taking that before the planning board, so they have an opportunity to weigh in on any regulations that we impose in that unincorporated area within the specified planning boundary.
Who are representatives on that?
I know Debbie Nuss was the most recent one because we have that alternating seat.
John.
I believe Phil Anderson.
Yes.
I don't think John Paul's on it.
He is.
Is he still on?
Yeah, I don't remember.
He was a county, but I think he's city now.
Okay, maybe. So Ken Ebert's on there. And I don't know which ones
city
we've appointed. Ken Ebert, Ben Burton, Debbie Nuss. I'm trying to go down the line of where they said Phil Anderson.
I think it's
John Paul, and then and Christian.
so
and Hannah.
Yeah, Hannah's ours, Phil is ours, John is ours, and we just did
Debbie.
We just did Debbie because it suits the county.
So basically, it's in an enforcement of codes, of regulations, more so than annexations and that kind of. This whole plan.
The comprehensive plan is just the map that we're amending is what it determines how we grow and in what land use would go there. So as the city looks at rezonings, we reference this plan to see if it would be suitable to rezone that property based on this future land use map. The other thing that we look at is that urban service area boundary, that line that we're kind of adjusting. So there's some areas here that, like for instance, up here, this has actually been annexed and there's growth that's beginning or housing that's being developed in this area. And it's showing that it's outside of our area that we can service. We know that that's not accurate. The Hartford Hills master plan that Amanda referenced, that's this entire rectangle here. And it was a master planned subdivision or community that we looked at. Well, we know now that they're only going to develop half of it. So here's can we get on the same screen? I can't. So you can see how these two areas here line up. We're going to end up scaling it back where we're going to show the western half of that development as ag. And then make our urban service area boundary line up to the area that we expect to grow.
To get to the south. That's the alternate, the city county.
Yeah.
alternate. Yeah, okay.
So it's really about future growth. It's not about, it is a little bit about annexation. We look at this to see if it's an area that we could serve with city services. But this map has been stagnant since 2015, and we've kind of run into a few snags. Do we have the other one? So the other one that was being changed is out by the airport. If you remember, recently the city annexed, I think it was about 70 acres for an MCM future business park. And that was actually outside of our urban service area boundary, where our joint planning board had no jurisdiction because it wasn't within the boundary that interlocal agreement defined. So we ended up annexing that, and now it has jurisdiction under that planning board.
So this dotted line, that includes the gateway area too on 177.
The comprehensive plan?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the comprehensive plan, here's the future land use map. Way out here. So this is the map that's in the 2015 plan, well, with those minor adjustments that we're proposing. So the dotted blue line, that is what is in the interlocal agreement. That is the joint planning area that the city and the county agreed upon in 2001. Then the area, that was also the area that we used for the comprehensive plan jurisdiction. So right now, the Manhattan Urban Area Planning Board has jurisdiction to make decisions or make recommendations inside this entire map that's shown here. Anything outside of that map would go to the Riley County Planning Board, and the city wouldn't be at all involved. It would come directly to you all. So the only changes that we're making are on the Riley County side, up here in this corner. And then the other one was down here by the airport to reflect that we have annexed this industrial park. That was in, I think it was in December is when that.
January,
Yeah.
Kind of went through a process here because of the holidays.
So right now, those are really the only two changes that we're wanting to make, and it's just because we've kind of run up against those a couple of times.
Basically just some housekeeping, just.
Yeah.
If they do things match, it should. Any other questions?
There we go. Now I got it. No, I don't have any other questions. I was just trying to pull up that section earlier. I was trying to put the boundary was on it. Gotta have some sort of a resolution or something to go with it. or no?
Do have a resolution.
Okay,
Yeah. Sounds very.
The resolution is what formally adopts the amendment.
okay. It's not reflected in the motion though. Okay, or at least on mine.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm gonna revamp that then. I see that here at top. I'll move to approve the proposed motion and resolution number 0928 23-A to the Manhattan urban area, comprehensive plan.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded to adopt the resolution number 101623. Manhattan Urban Area Comprehensive Plan changes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All three signed, please.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Amanda. Thank you, Stephanie. Next, commissioners, I'm up at 10:10. Yeah, Greg, I agree with your concerns on that. It looks misleading if that's something that's not realistic. I agree with your concern about that lineup between if it's not something that's going to happen, it's misleading.
Yeah, I have it on.
I agree.
I know something for local jurisdictions to come up with the money, and that's what's gonna happen.
Buck County would be in favor of it because they do that based on population evaluation.
Yeah.
So we get the lion's share.
They can fund it, but.
It's not problems, not a solution.
No, they're gonna dump a whole bunch of traffic in the two other school districts.
If you were going to do that, you should have done it 20, 30 years ago before Marlette got developed over there. And
I've already seen what the extra traffic does. It's just Hayes being.
I don't know if the commissioners were following it, but back then when we improved Marlette to the status it is now, we tried to convince the city to partner with us and put a third lane in there at that time, and they didn't want to. Little history.
Depends on who's there.
You ladies eat all the food over there already?
Yeah.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
Annalise made chili for like.
I know, I saw that.
So I'm just taking care of.
Don't tell Commissioner Ford.
You like chili for me?
I do. My doctor says I gotta eat carrots and cucumbers.
Well,
I think that goes real good with chili.
that's your side dish for it.
Yes.
Number chili.
I told her that's the food that my actual food eats, and she didn't find the humor in that. So. If I hurt you, I'm still eating. That was the point that I was trying to make, but no.
So it's cucumbers and what?
Carrots.
Is that the only vegetable that means anything? Are those the only ones that mean anything or what? Why did they pick those?
Apparently she thinks I'm a rabbit.
So you eventually get them secondhand.
Do that too.
But you need to find a more fun doctor.
Yeah, they're better.
Kind of defeat the purpose, you know.
A lot better vegetables. Especially cucumber.
Has to do with like solubility, you know. In the technical terms.
Well, eggplants work, don't they?
I asked that question. She said that would be fine too. Yes. Not fried. Not too many ways to eat that other than that, but yeah, that is the best way. Right?
I sauteed some this weekend, chopped them up, sauteed them. It's pretty good, but you have to add things.
Yeah.
You can also slice and put sausage in it and honey. It's very.
Sausage and honey, that sounds really healthy.
You're supposed to watch the sugar intake. I'm pretty sure that probably doesn't work with honey.
You can watch it.
All the way up. But you're not my doctor.
My doctor of laws.
Natural honey, maybe, or maybe not. It's better.
Yeah, sugar-free honey.
There is.
That'd be.
Where?
I just threw up in my mouth a little.
They were Tastes pretty
The
strange.
comb.
Yeah.
It's
Honeycomb.
Probably just means just eat the bees. Which actually be high in protein. That would actually work. Believe it or not.
My dog tried to eat a bee this weekend. It didn't work out too well.
No explanation.
So they did that or whole muzzles. Well,
Now, this didn't have me. Jumped away from it as soon as he figured out what it was. So it's funny.
ready, commissioners?
Mhm.
Good morning, Commissioners. Rick Barber, Riley County Clerk. I'm not gonna go through and read the card to you. I trust that Commissioners had time to go through and go through the packet, so I'm not gonna reiterate everything that's in front of you, but this has been a priority of mine for at least 15 years. Matter of fact, as you know, Secretary of State Scott Schwab was in the office last week and visited with him, and I was one of many county clerks at that time proposed legislation to allow counties with a population of 50,000 or above to county commissioners to appoint an election commissioner, not as it is now through the state, as they appoint the top four of the largest county election commissioners, and it's just for these reasons. Elections is so different from every other aspect of our office, and especially in today's environment, security has always been huge concern and top priority with elections, you know, from when I started back in 97, you know, even now nationally with media and the various special interest groups, it's even a higher priority. And you, as it says in the commission agenda report, we were one of 13 counties that went through that intensive audit process. And what they're really telling you is they don't want anyone other than just election staff to have access to anything that's going on with elections. That is one issue. And the other issue is space. For years, we just have not had space. We don't have space for elections in working up to the election. You know, that's what I should have said in a press conference today is a continuation of the election that's already ongoing, because commissioners, we start advanced voting October 18th, which is the full allocation available for advanced voting, which is 20 days prior. 25 days prior to advanced voting, we had to have ballots out 45 days prior for federal service. So we're in the middle of an election right now. The election's going on right now. And so we have to conduct all that business while in the middle of doing tax roll and being the clerk for the Board of County Commissioners and payroll and HR and everything else. And it's just not a good mix. And especially in the height of elections, when staff has to be working and proofing ballots. We have 4 or 5 of us proofing ballots in the office, and other staff are around that. In the elections world, they just really do not want that. And so this has been a priority of mine. And I know Commissioner Ford knows, and I even talked to Barry Wilkerson about it, that I've been looking for another location to possibly rent or lease. Staff has looked at the mall, looked at other places, possibly lease some space. You know, of course, it has to be based on your approval to do that. To find some way to get elections separate. Matter of fact, County Attorney Barry Wilkerson told me, he said, you find any space, let me know, because I need space too, which goes, I know, to the bigger issue, which Commissioner Ford, I know, and I think all 3 of the commissioners really want to work on is space needs for all offices. Is I think we have an opportunity here. Like I said, I'm not going to reiterate what's in the car, but we have that 4th floor that's available. You know, some offshoots of that. I think it would, you know, if the commission would approve this, and if, you know, after we got an estimated price, it seems feasible, you know, it would help all those other aspects of our office with HR and payroll and a separate entrance and all that stuff within the space we have over there. And it gets election staff over here in the same building, at least with the election equipment. But, you know, the one thing that we didn't know for sure that would happen, which I think is an opportunity, is that last attachment that I have there. The physical security grant program through the Secretary of State's office. You see the timelines are short, but what I like about it is the very bottom section there where it says February 1st, 2024, but waivers may be submitted for delayed implementation. So I think we have time to talk about it logically and realistically and don't have to put a rush on it today. but the sooner we know, the better. We are making some improvements to security in the back storage area for equipment right now to enhance that and give us more space since we have more equipment, but it would just be so much better and more efficiently ran if we had election staff in their own separate area to conduct that business totally separately and securely from all other aspects of county government, not just our office, but all aspects. So, commissioners, we have submitted the application to the state just in case, and we have filled out this form. It had to be submitted, and we asked for $800,000. The Secretary of State's office, as I've told the commissioners, we have conference calls weekly with the Secretary of State's office. The one I had missed one, and they had said, they're probably not afraid of any figure that we throw at them for enhancements if it doesn't exceed 7 digits. So they have a lot of money available. Doesn't mean this will get approved, but we're going to try to get it. If they come back and say, yeah, it qualifies prior to the commissioners approving anything, we can just deny it and say we don't need the money. We will need it for the back storage area that we are doing enhancements to. But we have already submitted the application because the deadline is the 20th, I believe. And so we have submitted that and they've acknowledged they have received it. But there's a lot of good reasons to do it. I know Commissioner Ford is really wanting to make it a priority, overall space needs analysis. And we haven't done that at this time. We've done one previously, but these things take time. Even if the commissioners do a space needs analysis, it's probably not completed until realistically at the middle of next year or later, and then figuring out how you're going to implement that. And we're busting at the seams, commissioners, as far as just room for staff, let alone the critical functions like this going on there. So here to answer questions. It's been a critical need, in my opinion, for 15 years here at Riley County. Each year, it just continues to get more so and more so.
Would you move it? The area down here, that's going to keep. That'll where the machines.
That'll have to stay. Yes, that'll stay.
That'll stay there. It's not room. That was there.
Not room, and just imagine loading out all those machines from the floor on the elevator. Yeah,
a while.
And that's what we've made improvements. John's crew, Commissioner, I encourage you to go to the back alley there. They've done a lot of work here recently for us. Alvin and his crew. They made a much nicer ramp on the interior. You can walk through this back hall and see on the interior to make it an easier transition for staff and on equipment getting rattled around. But then they also contacted the city and got permission to put a concrete ramp in the full width of the exterior of the door because it was such a quick transition before that it was really hard on staff and equipment. They made a really nice, more subtle ramp. And so that just got completed, 2 weeks ago, I think. And so we've done those improvements. The commissioner saw that wall back there. It's kind of like a hallway and in the storage area. We're taking out that wall, closing off a secured door. That door will be secured. Then we're adding another door before that exit door. So the custodial staff will have access to the mechanical there.
Yeah.
John's crew is doing the majority of that work in-house. I think the only thing we're contracting out is electrical, which is it's really pretty minor, the electrical that needs to be done. But with us getting those DS300s, we just need a little bit more footprint to work in there. It's still we could use 50% more space than what we have right now, but this will make it better.
Within the area across that hall, is that still here or can that be moved upstairs?
No, they're going to stay there as well. As a matter of fact, it looks like concrete walls there, but there's actually these columns there, and there's drywall in between. We're removing the drywall from in between there to open that all up in like one big room. So you flip one light switch on, both what we call kind of the vault area and the equipment storage area. We use the other room for storage of other election stuff and workroom.
So the fourth floor is pretty large, as far as dividing it up, that kind of thing. What all is going to move up there? Your staff,
Yeah, all
The clerk's office and voting is still gonna remain where it is that?
Voting would stay on the second floor
Second
of
floor.
the courthouse office building just for access, commissioners.
Yeah.
You know, that is,
Parking and,
you know, that's even what we talked about, you know, ideally, you know, possibly moving elections on this first floor, but still the problem with this building is parking and access for people.
Yeah.
That's not our parking lot.
Right.
You know, honestly, during advanced voting, we get a lot of traffic for people that are in line for motor vehicle or paying taxes. And so it's just so much more convenient over there. We'll still be doing advanced voting on the second floor long term of the courthouse office building.
so upstairs, on the fourth floor, you're gonna have basically just your staff members that concentrate on elections all the time.
Correct, that's all it would be. It'd only be election staff, adequate workroom. When we're going through ballots, we get thousands upon thousands of ballots to review at one time. We need them. Our conference room is not big enough for doing.
You do a good conference room up there too, because there's plenty of room for a nice big conference room.
Yep, exactly. And it'd be what it really is, a workroom is what it would be. It'd be where you'd process ballots and everything on election night. This is, and you know, it's nice here because this is when the poll workers come back, you know, we bring supplies back too, and you know, round all that stuff up on election night. So it would just be a lot more convenient to have election staff in the same building as election equipment.
And you do your training up there too. You wouldn't use this or.
Do a lot more. Much more of our training. Because we do the bigger supervising judges, we get supervising judge training, iPad training, full book iPad training. We have advanced training going in here this week. There's so many different trainings, and many of the trainings we don't hold in there. They're smaller groups, and we hold those in our conference rooms sometimes as well.
So you're talking about hiring an architect to design not only the fourth floor, but redesign the first floor.
This initial here is just for the fourth floor. The next step would be, if the board would allow that, I would do it at the same time. I'd be absolutely, but I didn't want to come in asking for too much. So that would be the next step. I'd be glad to. Just the entrance to the back area, I don't think would be much. How we would ideally like to change the front would be a little bit more, not hugely significant. I think I've talked to commissioners or a couple of you, you know, right when you walk in and you have that column, you're walking in the door and that columns on your left there, kind of put a wall there and just kind of have two customer service places open that way. Other staff, tax roll staff, and others have more privacy and aren't dealing with the customer service coming in, and just have two people assigned to customer service. You know, over there, the other thing is we'd still be doing, you know, the acceptance of voter registration cards and stuff. We would just simply transfer them up to the election staff to process them. You know, for the convenience of the public, we would accept voter registration cards, or someone, you know, need to come in and fill one out, because we like to assist people with that, because people miss little boxes to check and really miss that signature line item a lot on voter registration. And so we would still do those types of things, but we would transfer all election work to the fourth floor to process. And they would be the only ones that would have those systems on their computers to process anyway, on the statewide system.
And that'll be a secure, you'll have a lot of security up there, so people just can't come up there.
Yeah, that'd be a huge aspect of this asking. Of course, that's why this grant program's titled what it is. It's all about election security. Even with these revisions in the back room, we gotta change where cameras are and add cameras. As I told Commissioner McKinley, you know, said it was a group that had some questions over concerns on election security. I think Commissioner McKinley was surprised that everything Susan does is on camera, because her computer has a camera on it. And once again, that election system is not tied to any other network. That computer is solely on its own.
That's how the war of the machines will begin.
Yeah, well,
I've been emphasizing because I've had other questions since then. You know,
I always direct people to me. I'd be glad to answer questions. You know, yeah, no election results are ever sent from a polling place via the web to us. You know, they bring the information on the drive and we download it, process, and make sure everything balances before we release it. There's a lot of work that goes in from the time of the poll close to the information gets to Susan process before it's released publicly.
Well, I'd like to see that space utilized up there because it's a nice space if it were done right. And of course, it needs new bathrooms there too.
Yeah, the bathrooms and hallway, this and my
It's-
proposal, you know, because we do want it to be a much nicer looking location than it is now. If you walk into the bathroom, you can see it's not in good shape. I think the urinal's even unusable. I walked in there one day and it's
I
got
wouldn't use any of it right now.
cracks in the walls, but it's not a big bathroom, so.
Yeah, it's really,
Bathrooms are one of the most expensive things to renovate, as everyone knows, for sure. But we have submitted this grant application. Like I say, if the commissioner decide not to do it, then we can simply say no. If we were granted it, I think it stands a pretty good chance of at least being seriously, if not a significant portion of it, funded. But we will see.
So right now, you're just asking for the money to.
Yeah, that was kind of do the space study analysis. John said he thought we could probably do it for around that much.
Okay.
Of that space.
Yeah, just of that
That's
space.
space.
You're talking about what Commissioner Folke had suggested, that would potentially be more, of
That's
course.
the next step. Yep.
that would,
That would be the next, and that's how I looked at it. The next step, if this is approved.
and that wouldn't be as difficult to
No.
reconfigure spaces. It will be, well, that's just a blank slate of them.
That's the one nice thing about it. You don't have a lot to take down. You have a lot to improve and build as far as office walls and conference workroom, workspace rooms, you know, but it is kind of a blank slate up there for sure.
It's gonna be mostly taken up with IT hardware. That's why most of those dollars are gonna go.
It also take a little more purchase of some office equipment as well. You know, what computers we can transfer up there we can, but there'd be desks and stuff that'd be needed, because as you know, the front office space is built in desk, you know, so those you can't really move, so.
Susan.
Oh, that's up to the chair to call.
Oh, I know. I'm just calling.
I guess I look to you because you read my evaluation. It's you then.
Okay.
I didn't know if I could just reiterate, I think Rich has done a great job, but really the biggest mandate that we feel from the state is the increased security, which is why you see the implementation of that February 2024, because they want that. They want that for next year because it's going to be really scrutinized and looked at. So the timeline of it is really to our benefit because they're looking to approve anything that can enhance those security statewide for every county, not just ours. And so that is going to help us tremendously to be able to provide that.
Is it feasible to get this done by February 24?
That I do not know. That's what the
Well,
architect.
this is what's gonna happen. We
Yeah.
already know what's gonna happen. All the protocols that are in place right now are gonna change by February.
Yeah, well,
We know that already, so it's gonna be a constant.
And it's not changed on the fly. So the one thing we've seen in elections, and Commissioner Ford is correct, the protocols will change, but there's never been any less protocols.
Yeah.
well, if we can find an architect to get working on it right away, that would be a good idea. And I don't know how many are available that can
I know.
move that fast.
John has good relations with a lot of the local ones, and you know, at $10,000, it's within his, you know, authority to communicate with them and talk, want to see who has the bandwidth to do it in the time period allocated, so.
I'm pretty sure there's two that will tackle it for sure.
Really?
And Commissioner, what I wanted to start out with this presentation was if this was coming to you, I was going to bring this to you before we even knew we had the grant application possibilities available, and it would be CIP funding. So know that if we don't get any money or we get partial, you know, I was coming to you and going to ask for this move, and it would have had to been CIP funding. So that would be our other funding source for if this is not approved through the state. But it was just in the last 2.5 weeks that we were even notified and had this process for the grant available. I was already in the process of reviewing that space, talking to staff and staffing over there to kind of figure out, you know, how it would work and if it would be truly that beneficial. And so I was bringing this to you even without this grant application, and the dollars would have been the same.
So we don't have any idea what it's gonna cost us.
No, John got some estimates, from actually BHS who were working with, on kind of what remodeling interior space is. I think it was $300 a square foot, which Commissioner McKinley, it just blows my mind for
Yeah,
people
yeah.
in construction for remodeling. So we will see.
Actually come down a little bit from like 325.
That's ridiculous for remodeling.
Not when you're looking at plumbing, electrical, all this, HVAC, all that, what's the square footage up there? Do you know offhand?
Just over 2,400. That includes a hallway and the bathroom. I have it written down with one of their tape measure one day and told John it's right around this much square footage.
It isn't even a big hallway in there, anyway,
So it's something we need to do.
yeah. So.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve John Ellerman, Public Works Director, and Rich Fargo County Clerk to hire an architect to develop plans for remodel of the 4th floor of the CPE building for election division.
Second.
So moved and seconded to approve John Ellerman and Rich Vargo to hire an architect to develop plans to remodel of the 4th floor of the CPE building for the elections division. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Truly appreciate it. Next is Mr. Holman's time.
Commissioners, you can go ahead and pass on the line if you want to stay on the schedule. The items I've got, I can still run by them on Thursday after the meeting. Since we're into the scheduled time for the emergency shelter. Yeah. Keep you.
Okay,
I'll probably take like 2 minutes
Oh,
sooner.
and we can always come back
So
to that.
that's what,
Sure.
I don't have a whole lot today.
Famous last words. That's what I always.
That's
I won't say anything.
That's true.
Are you ready for me then? Okay. I'm Emily Wagner, the director of the Manhattan Emergency Shelter, just here to provide an update real quick. First, I just want to mention the invite that I had sent and a reminder for that. I really would like to have, this is a good chance to set a showcase, honestly, and to get our legislator into town. I'm excited we were chosen. Basically what they're doing is doing a tour of home services that are working in the state, and we are the only shelter that was chosen for the state to be showcased. So that is awesome for us, and we're excited and nervous a little bit to get all the logistics together, but we'll get it all done. We've got a little bit of repairs going on in the shelter too. So so with that, and hopefully you can all make it. Second, we at the end of September, we were at 339 people just in our shelter facility. That's not including our other programs. So times are tough for all of us. I think everybody's feeling it. Those that are low income are especially feeling it. So our services are more on demand. And with that, though, our needs are increasing, our funding is decreasing. And that is kind of the theme amongst all nonprofits right now. There's so many nonprofits applying for funds. It's just getting spread out. And so we're seeing grants that we've historically gotten for 10 years or more that are $10,000 less each year. We're losing because they're spreading it out. We have 20 agencies instead of 13 being funded now, things like that. So makes our jobs a little bit harder. Makes Danae's job a little bit harder. She's my grant and finance officer. So finding new grants, finding new ways to support the shelter. Sometimes we take on programs not only because the community needs it, but there's also ways to support our overhead and some of our other staffing costs with that. And so we do have 2 large grants that we've turned in. One is a HUD grant through one is a HUD grant that is for rapid rehousing, but it is to not only do Riley County. We were asked to do our entire region, which is Erie, Riley, Potawatomi, Clay, Marshall, and Washington counties. And so we'll have a staff person that will have some funds available to help rehouse people in those actual counties instead of having to bring people down to Riley County into shelter. So we're hoping we can keep people in place. There's not a lot of funds written into that for those other counties. Most of it will stay in Riley County, but we're excited to kind of expand that and see what we can do to help in the state. The second one is the Home Art Fund.
home heart grant. And we're hoping that we can get some staff with that. We're really struggling with our individuals who are what we call severe service needs. So disabling conditions, untreated mental health, untreated addictions. Our case managers, I have 2 at the shelter, and they are just overloaded. And then when you get clients that have those special needs, they just take so much time. And so almost like our own adult protective service worker, but our own staff in-house that we can use just to help with the burden that we have right now. Because I'm big on case management. If any of you have talked to me, that's where my background is. And if we're not able to provide the case management to help guide people, then we're not doing our job. So we have to have staff there to do that. Which our staff is good at what they do. You know, we have, I think the last I looked, we were at, for 2022, 75% of our clients move into permanent housing. And that number has gone up in the last couple of months. They were like 77, 78%, which is huge. So there are places to rent, and there's means to do it. Sometimes our clients just need that extra help, the deposit for so much rent paid so they can get in. So needs right now that we have, we need cleaning supplies. We need large trash bags, paper towels, and cold medicine. We've had colds, and these winter colds starting to go through the shelter, which is always a fun time. Takes our staff out, takes our clients out. So we really need that. Cough drops, just those little things that everyone has in their home: Tylenol, ibuprofen, cold medicine. We can definitely use those. I think that's really all I have for an update, unless anyone has any specific questions for me. We're still working on a winter warming shelter. Not quite sure what we're gonna do yet. Been meeting with Be Able, and we're trying to come up with a plan. The group that had been doing it is no longer around. So we're gonna figure something out. I have my own restrictions on with my code and how many people can be in my building, and my services are for those who are homeless. And not everyone that needs a winter warming shelter is homeless. We have a lot of people who just don't have sufficient heat. And so we've got to find a separate entity in a separate building to do that in. And so we're working on it. We'll come up with something.
Can you, outside of space, can you provide like, I don't know, cots, mattresses? Just
We have all
you
that
just need
stuff.
space, right?
Yeah, we have all of that stuff actually from Homeland Security. The emergency management has the cots and the means for all of that. And we have a plan for the entire community if we have a mass power outage or something that we can enact pretty quickly. I think the problem that we're going to run into with running a winter warming center is going to be staffing.
Yeah.
Finding people to stay overnight. It's not an easy job. It's not a fun job. And so just finding consistent staffing and then the funds to do it. And a building. I know in the previous years, they've had to move buildings because of issues. And so we need to find somewhere that's willing to allow that to be there. So we're working on it. We're going to meet again this week, and we'll come up with something brilliant for sure. So
Got a couple ideas, Bill.
okay, get with me. We'll do that. But otherwise, that's all I have. I'm excited to see you all next week. And so any questions for me?
No.
Nothing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you.
Next, Commissioner, you have Corey Meyer at 10:40. Come on, Corey. How you doing?
Very good.
Here, remember, I won't be here on Thursday. I'll be Zoom, so it's not important.
Well, I can do it real fast.
Okay.
For me. Yeah, that's, I mean, it's just.
Yeah. Oh, bye.
Good morning, Commissioners.
I guess you're not getting a new computer, so.
I did not be interested.
Not that he could use it anyway once he gets it.
Thanks. I gotta be good. I need him. Commissioners Clancy, Holman, Riley County Council. Just very quickly, I want to run past you some potential dates for a legislative conference. I don't need your answer today, but I would ask you to look at your schedule. These dates would be traditional. What I'm thinking of, it would be in person, it would be here, and it would be from noon to 2. Potentially on one of these dates. I have not cleared any of these dates with the delegation yet. So, but I want to start out by what works for you. The first date available, I would suggest, would be November 30th, that Thursday from noon to 2. The second date would be December 11th. on a Monday. The third date would be potentially December 14th. And again, all these dates are 12 to 2. And then 2 remaining dates, the 21st of December and the 28th of December. And I know those are late, but quite frankly, several things are pretty late this year, including KBC. So we've only got the 2 legislative items. But the further out we push these available dates, provided they work for you, the better chance we've got of getting most, or at least the majority of our delegation present. So that's always my goal. And I'm assuming you want to do this in person. In the format we've used previously, we'll do that. We'll provide a meal and then some time to discuss it. And we ought to end on time since we've only got the 2 issues. But it's important, I think they understand which 2 you're pushing. Unless you have questions, that's all I've got.
Do keep in mind though, the later we go into December, we're working on evals.
Sure.
I'm-
Absolutely.
Department evaluation.
Oh, okay. That's right.
And certainly, well, now I guess we don't have to do all board appointments this year.
It's always going to be in conflict with something, particularly near the end of the year.
Oh, yeah.
Holidays be the trick with those later dates, I think.
Exactly. That's why I want to be able to give several dates to the delegation to consider. So you can contact me individually. Which one of those, just shoot me an email or text or something. Let me know if you would. And this week I'll send something out to the delegation and see if I can start their own support for one of those days that work for you. Thank you.
Done for commissioners.
I even got you there on time. You did. You're welcome. Appreciate it.
All right, good morning, Commission. I'm here for discussion and what might be approval or come back for final approval, but in how to proceed with our imagery flight for 2024 and for years after that. Quick history. In 2019, we did an RFP because we didn't know quite what vendors were out there for this because it is a large purchase. Historically, it's been $190,000 every 2 years for a flight. So of course, procurement says that we would potentially need to go back to RFP. The last RFP was done for 2 flights, so covered 4 years, and we are outside that RFP now at this particular time. So to begin to review the vendors that were there, Anna, our new appraiser, came to me with ideas and thoughts on. I'm familiar with another vendor. I'd like to discuss with you about that vendor, and it is actually one that we have worked with before. And so me being new to the what do they have to offer, I brought them in, talked with them, and when I had internal discussions with the appraiser's office and our GIS staff, they had laid out some clear things to me that were, we would really love to have a product that did some of these specific things. Then in reviewing the vendors that were available, it became clear that there's only one vendor there that can provide this checklist of items that they would like to have. To further my due diligence, I checked with other counties in the area, including the state, and they say 2 vendors out there. One, Sanborn, who we previously used this last 2 flights. The other, Eagle View, which we were using before we went to Sanborn. We brought Eagle View in, we looked over their product, and it became clear that they're the only ones that are going to be able to provide the list of things that GIS would now like to have, as well as the appraiser's office would like to have, which took me to come before you to ask for approval of a sole source and not have to go to RFP. This would be a sole source vendor. And in our procurement code, there's Article 2, Section 2.205. And in there stating that if department head can clearly define these are items that this vendor provides, we need to have and what reasons for that, then we don't need to go to RFP. The other history part to this, why weren't we using Eagle View instead of Sanborn before when we did the RFP? The price was clearly completely different. And I mean, $100,000 type different. That's not the case now. They brought their pricing down. In fact, their pricing is equal to what we were already paying and what was proposed to us. So I can dive deep into a lot of technical pieces to this, but a couple of things that I do truly believe that you'll clearly understand. One of the things that we get as far as our imagery is what's called an oblique. That oblique we put into a viewer that's used by RCPD and by K-State. Currently, we have 9 viewers. So they have to go in and out of like 9 different applications to look at some of our imagery. With Eagle View, we have 1. It all lays together seamlessly. It doesn't matter what years they want to look at. It's 1. It's not 9. One of the biggest things, and I can put a monetary value to it, and I tried to do it what I would call conservatively, is right now every day our GIS staff has to manually run updates. They have to do those every day, and it's about an hour each day. Well, that hour a day, 5 hours a week, conservative $20 an hour, we're at $5,200 a year. Well, that is a savings that if we go with Eagle View, now that's an automated process. That's something they don't have to do on a manual process day to day anymore. I spoke about the viewer down there in number 1. Number 3 there, Eagle View hosts these obliques that RCPD or K-State would access. Right now we host them. So in doing that, I have a server and I have storage for that because it is terabytes of information that we have. We'll no longer need that equipment. That equipment is due to be replaced in 2025, which is roughly $20,000. I won't need to replace that now. In addition, we have to allow firewall access into that equipment by those, and we'll be able to turn that off. And anything I can do for more security, I like to do. Additionally, Eagle View has a true mobile application, and that mobile application can be used in the field, and that mobile application can be used by other entities outside of even our appraisers and GIS. It can be fire, public works, safety, and so forth, but they can use the actual app, which is mobile friendly. One of the other pieces Eagle View has recently done is that they have integrated with the appraiser's application, the Tyler Orion application that the appraiser's office uses. So when they're inside of their day-to-day application that they use, they can click on a button in there and it roads right to the imagery. It's a piece they don't have now. There's other pieces I could go into. Anna and Jake gave me this long list of things, and I can keep going and we get deep and technical. But it's quite clear that these pieces that they provide, others cannot. We know this being a customer of Sanborn for the last few years. We also asked them when we got to our last imagery, are you planning on creating some of these functions? We have continued to hear, we're working on it. Well, we're tired of waiting. And so I'm asking for your approval to go forward with them as sole source. I will caveat this, that I have the contracts. They have not been reviewed yet by the counselor's office. They came back different than what I was expecting. And my explanation for that is this is kind of a joint venture between us and the city of Manhattan. The city of Manhattan has paid for part of this each year. But the way it's been done before is we pay for the full flight because we're going to use all the imagery or not. But the city has pitched in some money that ends up as more of a reimbursement, not paying. When the contracts were presented to us, there is a bill to portion for the city and a bill to for the county. So they are separating that. I obviously, as I just said, I want to get the contracts through. And is that okay? Do we want to do that differently? Do we want separate? I don't know how we want to handle that. But the city's portion of this is around $12,500 a year, or $25,000 over 2 years. So as I said before, the cost has been around 190,000. The total purchase now per year is 89,157. But instead of being an every 2 years, we're now a yearly that we pay. 2024 budgets are set. I had $190,000 in my 2024 budget to cover. Visit with Brittany, what would be the right way to go about this? We would lay that line in there, what we pay, our portion of, then the remainder on that line item in my budget, I would just let roll back in at the end of the year. We wouldn't use it, it wouldn't go anywhere else, it wouldn't do anything else, it would roll back in. And then the years going forward, 25 out to 29, I would budget our portion of what the flight would be. What we're also doing is that this contract covers 3 flights, which is 6 years' time. And so we were able to lock in a price actually less than what we've been paying for more imagery coverage as well. We expanded what we're covering as far as our 3-inch imagery to a much larger portion, going all the way up to Randolph.
A little bit further past Randolph.
Just past Randolph and the entire lake and all the way down. Before we had picked and done little pieces of it, but we have a larger portion that we've done with a higher grade of imagery than what we've done in the past. So I don't want to talk too much, that way I can answer some questions, but what I am asking is that I can move forward on a sole source with Eagle View. And I'm bringing this forward now, even though contract's not approved, because we need to move this along so that we get our January, February flight when there's no leaves on the trees and no snow on the ground. So if you want a table, I can come back. If you want to approve that I can move forward pending contract, but I'm trying to get here to get you information. If there's things you need to think about or questions you have, I'm open to this talk.
Don, you just jinxed you on the snow.
Calibrated trucks last week, so we're ready.
Okay, I'll remember that in February.
I have one question here. Under a fiscal impact, it talks about the money would roll back into the general fund. Is that earmarked for your department or for everybody?
No, that would go back into everybody, just like at the end of the year, any remaining monies of a budget that rolls in, that would not be earmarked for my department.
Okay, because
I would be presenting my 2025 budget, proposal, just like I would any other year. But it'll look a little bit different now that there will be an amount every year for a flight versus every 2 years.
Yeah, it was.
Correct. That's correct. It was doing an up and down because of those amounts, but now it'll be pretty flat. Yes, sir.
It's a big difference in the IT budget.
So what Corey's saying is at the end of this year, he's promising Brittany and the commissioners that he'll have 90,000 remaining at the end of that year's budget, which doesn't roll over because it does go in the general. So he'll have to budget 90,000 more than 2025 than what he was anticipating.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
that's where I was kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically, it's a wash.
It's
Right. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Mhm.
Yes.
Correct. It is.
Basically, it's a wash, but that is the way that, correct.
That's what it said.
But then, because you mentioned the city is 12,000 something, is that in addition? Is that?
It is not in addition.
So it could be less than that.
So correct. And I have that in the breakdown. So our portion for Riley County is actually 76,890.55. And what I put into to get my packet and everything in, I did not know that they would be willing to do a contract that would break down the county's portion and the city's portion and do a bill 2 separately. So when I put in a packet in here, we looked at it as if the city decided we're not going to do any part of it, I'm still going to have to fly the whole flight. Okay. Which brought me to, whoa, I don't want to attach a contract because I want to know if this is okay to go about it this way or if we need to do it differently. Okay. But so I still have to look at it until the city would sign and say, we're on the hook for these next 3 flights over 6 years for our portion too, that we may have to cover it if they don't agree. So those are some of the logistics to be worked out. which is where Clancy and Shelley. So I did visit with Shelley on the sole sort or on the source when we went through and agreed, and visit with Brittany as well and lay those pieces out. So both of those departments were okay on the move forward, but I am saying, you can ask me to table, come back when it's clear. You can say we move forward pending approval from contracts from the counselor's office. I didn't want to wait so I could begin this conversation and how you would like me to proceed with this.
One other question, the answer may be more technical than I can understand. But you talked about that this works unless they wanted to get more to the 3-inch or 6-inch grid, and you're talking about what's all that mean?
What that means is that when you look at our county, and I'll hold this up here to see, but so the areas in blue of Riley County, we will have that flown at a 3-inch, which means we're getting down finer, a higher quality imagery in that particular area there. If for some reason something would change, a development, something go on that it's like, well, there's a lot going on now there, it would be better if we had a higher grade imagery clear up here in the northwest corner of the county. Then we might say we want these 8 squares up here to now be 3-inch. Well, that's going to adjust the price a little bit.
So what is what are the purpose? Those are 3-inch. What are the other ones?
The other ones are a 6-inch. And so that's a common imagery that's done out in rural areas that don't have a lot of change. Yes.
When did we turn into Italy?
That looks that way, doesn't it?
Yeah. Have you ever seen our county on in that kind of a look?
No.
Right? Yeah.
It's like the lamp for the Christmas story.
But I did want to make that clear so that, yes, the question would be understood that if it was decided that we had an area of the county that we needed to adjust, that it could vary. Is it a lot to change from 6-inch to 3-inch? It's not. Once the price is there, it's not a lot. In fact, actually, the more we go to 3-inch, the more our price actually comes down. It's interesting how it goes. So we're sitting at that balance right there, but I kind of said that, but we're right where we need to be. And in fact, we used to not have, so the lake being over here, we didn't have the whole lake in 3-inch. We only had it 6-inch. So we'll be able to see those developments going on there better. And it used to be that we took each one of the small cities and then we just did like a 2-mile outline outside of it. And we picked these little spots. So, but now we're covering that whole area as things seem to be developing and trying to think where we'll be at in 2 years or 4 years or 6 years. Yeah. So in short, again, I am saying I'm asking for sole source. There's money savings. There is there. I can go into and Anna can get in depth of the tools they have, how more efficient they'll be in her office, those less time out in the field. They do a lot better on a lot of those accuracies on things. But I can't put a dollar to it to say this is what it is. But what I can tell you is that the price is not more, and we're getting more, and we're getting functions and features that we didn't have before. The quantitary amount I could put there is that we won't have equipment we have to replace, and our GIS staff will have things that are now automated instead of manual. So the question would be how you would like me to.
Well, I think it's a benefit being even year, because I know it was on, we have
Up and down.
190
Right,
or zero
sure.
next year.
Yeah.
Kind of makes the budget a little weird. So I think that's a benefit too.
You've done a lot of work on it. I
Yeah.
appreciate all the work you've done and trying to find the best deal for us.
Appreciate that.
I say just go ahead and get it done.
Yeah.
Get it moving.
Yeah.
One less thing.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll go ahead then and make a motion to allow IT and GIS to proceed with the purchase for imagery flights through Eagle View.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded that the IT GIS director work with a contract agreement and imagery flights through 2028. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's what I.
Oh, I didn't hear you. Okay.
Thanks, Corey.
Thank you, Commissioner, appreciate it.
Thank you for all your work.
Yes.
Commissioner, this time for Heather Germans.
Yes, yeah, I wasn't just gonna say.
No, I know.
Yeah,
Say something next week.
yes, we'll do. Thank you, sir. Sure.
Thank you for having me. My name is Heather Herman. I am the administrator at Leonardville Nursing Home. I have been there 7 months actually this week. If you don't know me, I grew up in Mitchell County, but I have been in healthcare for 25 years. I am asking for a letter of support. We are asking for a grant from the state of Kansas Department of Transportation for a bus for our facility to take our elders for group trips. We have minivans, but so we're only able to take a couple, 2 or 3 at a time. So we'd like to try to get a grant it's a cost share grant, to be able to take 14 elders at a time, so a neighborhood at a time on trips. So it's an 80-20 grant, which will probably end up being more 80-30 or 70-30. We may have to end up spending 30%, but we will take out of our own general funds to facilitate or to purchase. But we have to, part of the grant application is we have to have letters of support from the governmental agencies in our area. So it would be you as the Riley County Board of Commissioners and then the city of Leonardville. So what I'm asking for is a letter of support from you guys. I sent one, a proposed letter to Cindy from earlier. I have a copy if you guys need one.
We've got one.
Okay.
Yeah, we got it here.
That's fine.
Then if you have any questions.
Yeah, that seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea. The group trips.
Yeah.
We're personal, my husband works for the Clay County Highway and the Highway Department. He's the number 2 guy, so. It's nice to come to another Board of Commissioners and see how you guys work.
I know first that you serve Leonard, but what it does take around here is because there's a lot of, out of Riley, I know there's a lot of people there that use it too.
Yeah, and I'm sure it will probably get asked to be used for other things too.
Oh,
so.
yeah. You can count on it.
I'm sure.
He's very highly rated. Well, she's like,
Yeah. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve a letter of support for a grant application for the Leonardville Nursing Home.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve a letter of support for the grant application for the Leonardville Nursing Home. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All 3 sign, please.
Okay.
So I have to, if you can get it to me the next week or so, that would be great. If Cindy can email it.
Is Cindy gonna do it or do you want?
Do what?
Okay, the letter of support.
We've got it.
You've got
Got it
it.
right here.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Never mind.
Walk away.
Sweet.
Good stuff.
I have some personal things, but
No, that's fine.
this is perfect.
I need to get some delivery bills.
Uh-oh. How long are you gonna want, Clancy?
20 minutes, 25 minutes, 25 or
25?
We don't have to use it all. We don't need.
When you said that, the highway department guy was like, oh, my husband said thinks the same thing. He's the number 2 and was like,
Nothing compels to stay in the room, so it's.
I like it. He gets paid hourly, so I like it when he gets overtime. Thank you.
David, a long time since I've seen you. You're a little shorter.
Well, that was a lot. It's closer than yours.
What is on?
Good to see you.
And you too, Rich. Yeah, dude.
We'll get started in there, but here just a little bit. About 7 minutes.
Minutes.
Oh. Compared with the law board, that's actually beating out at the range.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
I should have checked.
Well, somebody alerted me to that,
What's the new range? Don't go to the old one.
right?
Okay.
So, it was Mike told me, hey, reach out to Nicole and get directions.
Good. Yeah, that is key.
Yeah, Nicole's the one that runs the place, really.
Mhm. Mhm.
And you do eventually learn, if you want to set a meeting, just call Nicole first.
Oh, absolutely.
Because if you start at the top, it's just gonna be, well, call Nicole and set that up.
How's everything going?
Very busy. I've got a response to a summary judgment motion due Friday where they did, it's a class action case,
Mhm.
45 pages for statement of facts.
Mhm.
And the aggravating part of it is, have you seen the movie Fargo?
Mhm.
Okay. It makes more sense when I start to, same way Fargo was based on a true story. There's the facts are based on a true story.
I never thought about suggesting that in a response to
But it's,
an extensive or interesting statement of facts.
Fargoing is a verb. It's like, okay, so your attachment, attenuation to the real world is at least it happened in the United States.
I never thought about suggesting that the brief I was responding to was based on a true story. That's probably better for oral argument than.
Yeah, I won't put it in writing, but it's along the lines of.
I like that.
Just we're over and over.
Stretch time for yoga.
166
Yeah.
statements of
Yeah.
fact. Almost every one of them. That's not what that says.
No, that's no fun.
That's not what that says. That's not what that said.
Oh, man. Yeah, 25 minutes. Yeah, that'll work. Yep, because we're gonna start on time.
Then I get to go to Southern.
Really?
Another Southern discussion.
Yes. You have to stay out here.
No.
I'm kidding. Now when you're based in Topeka.
Really check, make sure whether you want to do it or not.
You don't. But thanks for asking.
So maybe that's tomorrow. I do always think they're done for.
I got you. I appreciate you checking. We'll have other chances.
I guess it means
So
if I sit on it, it's not really there.
yeah, that's right.
If you say so. If you say so. Am I gonna argue with it?
You're an attorney, that's what you're supposed to do.
Sort of, kind of. You know what? Only on behalf of the client. See why it can be so difficult when you ask me.
No, I've heard through the grapevine, you're just difficult.
Good. Good deal.
I didn't pull it. Is there a heavy agenda for the board?
One item might be,
He's gonna be appearing at that. too.
yeah. I think this is gonna be a dual conversation for me. They're going up these days.
That's for sure. $11:35. Hey, commissioners?
Yep. I'll move that the county commission, including Chairwoman Foki, Vice Chairman Ford, and Commissioner McKinley recess into executive session on pending litigation for the purpose of consultation with Clancy Holman, Riley County Counselor, and David Cooper of Fisher Patterson, Saylor and Smith attorneys for the commission, which would be privileged in the attorney-client relationship, exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act. And open meeting to resume in the county commission chamber at 11:35 a.m.
Second.
So moved and seconded for the Board of Raleigh County Commissioners to recess into executive session until 11:35 a.m. All in favor? Aye.
I know.
You were back.
Go ahead and move that the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that the board come out of executive session. All in favor? Aye.
Also move that the record reflect action shall be taken with consensus reached in executive session.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that record should reflect that consensus was reached during the executive session.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, commissioners.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Well, is there anything else?
No, I'll be in Kansas City Thursday and Friday, so I'll be either on the road or stationary, or I haven't figured it out yet.
Okay.
That's Thursday.
Good, 2 days.
Yeah, so
Okay.
If you're thinking, but manage those days, fine.
I'm gonna put it on my calendar and I'll look at my black book and I'll have to look at Google and see if they two agree with each other.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, outside of that, I don't have anything.
Just announced that Chairwoman Folke is the winner of the grand prize of our betting last week. So
All right.
Good. Probably the last one.
she's in the lead too.
Am I?
That's
2, 1, and 1.
I'll have to email you my.
No, you don't have one. Sorry.
I was going to email you Thursday mine, and now going to win. I'm going to make sure of it.
It's okay. I didn't win one last year, Commissioner Ford.
I don't think I won one last year either.
I think you did. I think I was the only one that didn't.
Maybe so.
Well,
Oh, I think so, because I think I picked them to lose one game. They did. That's what it was.
But yeah, email. Remember to
Yeah.
email and text me your score.
Okay.
I had, what was the final score?
38-21.
Yep.
38-21.
There, I mean,
There for a while, I thought it was going to get
Greg and
close.
Clancy were both at 13 apart.
Yeah.
Catherine was just 11 away. So,
Oh, wow.
uh-huh.
Yeah,
I thought we were all fairly, I couldn't remember what all the numbers were, but I knew we were all fairly close.
Yeah,
Yeah, you guys all did
30 to
fairly close
24.
scores. I was very happy with the outcome.
Yeah.
I was just realizing it's almost start of basketball season.
Oh, yeah. It's
Holy cow.
first.
Speaking of basketball, I just read a story where Tang and one of his assistants just went out and met with Deion Sanders.
Yeah, and Jerome Dowling got to do like a weather report or something at the local, I don't know which station.
I guess they're both big fans of each other, and Deion has and his staff has some connections with some of Tang's staff, and so
Oh, really?
they went up there and
Okay, put that in mind. So I've got a lot more meeting to get to, so.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a motion then that we adjourn the October 16th meeting of the Riley County Commission.
Second.
So moved and seconded that we adjourn the Riley County Commission meeting